There's a deep-seated ailment in men, a craving to be liked. They walk with bowed heads, tongues wagging, offering loyalty like a stray offering its belly. They bark not to protect, but to be accepted. They become like dogs, obedient, harmless, and pathetic. This is your first death. You were told loyalty is a virtue. It's not. It's a leash. The man who gives it freely is a slave. The man who demands it without earning it is a tyrant. Either way, the dog suffers. The dog, though tamed and praised for loyalty, is truly a creature bred for submission. Its natural instincts are dulled. Its teeth are offered not to hunt, but to protect its owner. What the world hails as loyalty is, at its core, a silent surrender of one's own power. The dog doesn't live for itself, but for the hand that feeds it. It's fed when allowed, praised when useful, and punished for disobedience. This creature, seemingly noble in its devotion, embodies pure dependence. It becomes a slave to affection, addicted to approval, and paralyzed by rejection. In both politics and personal life, the man, acting like a dog, seeking validation, wagging for praise, shrinking from disapproval, is doomed to stay at others' feet. He'll never lead, because leadership requires independent thought, comfort with solitude, and a ruthless ability to act without applause. The dog, trained to fear disapproval, can't think beyond its master's wishes. It doesn't act on its own will. It waits for orders. This is the first and most subtle form of death. The death of personal command. Such a man won't survive in a world of wolves and lions. The court, the marketplace, the street, all are full of predators hidden in silk, smiling like serpents. These predators don't bark, beg, or announce themselves. They watch, they plan, they pick their moment. The dog, desperate to be noticed and accepted, reveals its whole soul with a tail wag. Its motives, its fears, its wants, all are easily seen by the more cunning. And what's exposed is easily used. The dog's tragedy isn't its loyalty, but its delusion. It believes kindness will save it. It believes obedience will protect it. It believes being harmless means eternal love. But love fades, things change, masters get bored. And when danger strikes, no one shelters the dog. It's either sacrificed first or left to defend itself, its teeth dulled from years of domestication. The dog that can't hunt, can't fight, and can't survive without affection becomes a burden, and burdens get tossed aside. In conflict, the dog can't guard the gate. It's grown to warn, but lacks the courage or cleverness to attack. It relies on others for what it can't do, and thus it's never feared. Not being feared means being powerless, because power comes not from how much you're loved, but from how dangerous you're seen. A man with a dog's heart can't earn respect, only pity. But pity doesn't build empires. It doesn't win battles. It doesn't keep a knife from your throat. This adoration of dog-like traits, loyalty, obedience, gentleness, is a tool used by those in power to stay in control. They preach virtue, not because they value it, but because it weakens those who follow it blindly. The powerful don't live like dogs, they just teach others to. They smile as the dog guards their property, fights their wars, serves their ambitions, all while the dog thinks it's fulfilling a noble destiny. But nobility without independence is just another word for being enslaved. To truly grasp the dog's confinement, you must see how quickly society turns on it. The dog that bites once, even in self-defense, is called dangerous. The dog that stops obeying is abandoned. The dog that questions its master is put down. The lesson here is clear. Blind obedience isn't rewarded. It's expected. And once it stops, its perceived value vanishes. The servant who forgets their place isn't corrected. They're removed. So the very qualities that once made the dog useful now lead to its destruction. The dog is admired by fools and exploited by the clever. Its loyalty is paraded as virtue, its obedience mistaken for moral strength, and its eagerness to please is dressed up as nobility. But remove the sentiment, and you're left with a being trained to need approval, to lower itself at the slightest sign of disapproval, and to trade its instincts for a pat on the head. The dog isn't born to serve, but is quickly broken to serve. It's a slave made acceptable through affection. And so is the man who imitates it. He who chooses the dog's life believes safety is found in being agreeable. in yielding, in never being a threat. He fears conflict more than shame, punishment more than being average. He learns to guess others' needs before they're spoken, not from wisdom, but from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being left, fear of being seen as dangerous. His tongue is quick with apologies. His eyes always seeking permission. He doesn't move without the signal. He doesn't speak unless invited. He walks through life believing that being harmless is the highest good, when in reality, it's the fastest path to irrelevance. The man with a dog's heart lives on the leash of public opinion. He thrives on praise and wilts under criticism. A single word of approval lifts him. A raised eyebrow crushes him. He can't handle tension because he's never known solitude. He can't earn respect because he's never dared to be feared. He clings to the illusion that loyalty will protect him, that kindness will give him influence, that submission will earn him advancement. But the world doesn't work on such fantasies. Power respects only those who can act, who can take without asking, who can stand alone and not falter. Look closely, and you'll see that those who rise in courts, councils, and businesses are never the ones most eager to please. The eager are tolerated, used, discarded. The dog is invited to the table, not to eat, but to sit quietly underneath. When the meal is done, it's tossed a scrap, and it wags its tail and thanks. It thinks it's lucky. It calls this life noble. It confuses being close to power with having power. But when famine strikes, or war breaks out, or a more useful animal appears, the dog is cast aside without a second thought, because affection isn't the same as necessity. The dog lives under the rule of those who don't live like dogs. Kings don't bow to their subjects. Generals don't seek approval from their soldiers. Masters don't apologize to servants. The natural order of command is built on distance, discipline, and an unwavering willingness to act without consent. The dog, on the other hand, can't handle loneliness, disapproval, or silence. It needs to be seen, needs to be told it's good, needs to be told it belongs, and this need is its cage. Worse still, the dog can't see the chain. It believes it's free because it's not beaten. It believes it's chosen because it's fed. It believes it's loved because it's tolerated. But the moment it's exposed, the truth is revealed. The leash tightens. The once gentle hand becomes firm. The once warm voice grows cold. It's not love that ties the dog to its master. It's fear disguised as loyalty. The creature has been trained to confuse acceptance with survival. It's not honored. It's conditioned. It obeys not because it agrees, but because it's forgotten how to choose. Watch the dog in stressful moments, when its master is gone, when danger is near, when hunger bites. It doesn't know what to do. It paces, it waits, it whines. It can't act on its own, because it's never been taught to. It's been praised for obedience and punished for trying something new. It's learned its instincts can't be trusted, that safety is only in surrender. And so, in crisis, it fails. It's either frozen by fear or frantic with confusion. It's useless to itself and others. It traded its claws for comfort and lost both. In the theater of power, it's not the honest face that rules, but the mask. And the most effective mask is the wolf. The wolf isn't just a predator, but a symbol of calculated strength, controlled violence, and precise attack. It's not born out of necessity. In a world where men tear each other apart with words, laws, and fake virtue, acting openly as a wolf is foolish. But lacking the wolf within is fatal. The wise man doesn't ditch the wolf. He keeps it under his skin, hidden, patient, always watching. The wolf doesn't seek approval. It doesn't wag its tail or beg for affection. It's silent in its dignity, solitary in its strength. While the dog looks to the group for safety, the wolf trusts only its instincts and its teeth. It doesn't howl for attention, but to signal command. In a pack, the wolf rises by showing dominance, not by begging for favors. The dog, on the other hand, craves only security and the illusion of belonging. It's a prisoner of its own desire for acceptance. It has forgotten how to fight. It has forgotten how to lead. It has forgotten how to be feared. It understands hierarchy not as a prison, but as a ladder to climb, not with words, but with calculated force. Towards where the wolf is a mask, is not to lose humanity, but to protect it. Those who parade their intentions in broad daylight, are quickly taken down. The man who shows his whole nature is at the mercy of the more cunning. He becomes a map for others to read, a weakness exposed. The wolf understands that hiding is protection. It doesn't roar when threatened. It waits in silence, watches the situation, and bites only when the outcome is certain. The fool strikes out of emotion, the wolf strikes from certainty. Power requires not just action, but timing. And timing is the wolf's gift. The wolf knows how to wait. It's not rushed by fear or tempted by hope. It doesn't lunge at every chance, but stalks the best one. The art of hunting isn't found in noise, but in the stillness before the kill. While others run towards the bait, the wolf circles it. It sees the trap long before it's sprung. This is why the wolf survives where others die. Not because it's faster or stronger, but because it's patient, observant, and willing to do what the virtuous won't. The wolf isn't cruel. Cruelty is a sign of desperation. The wolf kills not for fun, but out of necessity. It wastes no energy on revenge, no emotion on anger. It's efficient. It understands that fear is a sharper tool than love, and that silence is more powerful than pleading. Those who face the wolf feel it. A presence that doesn't need to prove itself. There's no barking, no show, no talking, just the certainty of consequences. That is power. To wear the wolf's mask is to understand the value of duality. You can't always be the beast that invites destruction, but you must always be ready to become it. True strength lies in appearing harmless while remaining dangerous. Sheep sleep soundly next to the dog, but they tremble when the wolf appears. A man who understands power knows how to appear gentle without ever disarming himself. He offers kindness as a gesture, never as a dependency. He speaks softly, but with the knowledge that his silence holds a hidden threat. The man without the wolf is always vulnerable. He's too eager to explain, too afraid to offend, too bound by his desire to be seen as good. The wolf doesn't care about perceptions, only results. It doesn't argue morality with those who are weaker. It doesn't justify its nature. It acts, and its actions define it. In this, it's free, not because it's above others, but because it's not chained by their judgment. To understand the wolf is to understand the need for masks. The world doesn't reward those who show their true selves. It devours them. But the man who knows when to show his face and when to show his teeth is untouchable. He isn't ruled by impulse or guided by need. He controls his presence like a weapon, always hidden, but always near. Loyalty is talked about as if it were a crown placed on the head of the good person. But this illusion is created by those who benefit from obedience, not by those who understand the nature of power. Loyalty, in its purest form, isn't a freely given gift. It's a chain tightly fastened around the neck of the one who gives it. It binds a man not to a cause, but to a master, not to principle, but to dependence. It's a beautiful word used to legitimize oppression, to dignify servitude, and to protect the interests of those who fear the rise of independent men. The loyal man believes he is noble. He believes that his faithfulness to a person or idea is a sign of inner strength. But look at the outcomes of such devotion, and you'll see that what he calls strength is actually paralysis. He can't act without permission. He can't change his allegiance even when his loyalty is exploited. He can't betray even when betrayal means survival. He clings to the idea of consistency as if it were armor, unaware that it's what's actually making him weak. Those who value loyalty over reason are often the first to be sacrificed and the last to be avenged. The master, the ruler, the schemer, they all understand the usefulness of the loyal. They are predictable, controllable, and not a threat. They don't ask questions, they don't stray. They endure punishment and keep serving. Their value isn't in their ability to think, but in their willingness to endure. And the moment their usefulness ends, so does their protection. The loyal man who can no longer serve becomes a burden, and burdens are discarded, not rewarded. He who thinks his loyalty will buy him everlasting favor is blind to the nature of those he serves. Gratitude is fleeting, and history is full of the dead bodies of men who thought they'd be remembered for their allegiance. Loyalty is only useful when used with intelligence. To be loyal without leverage is to offer your life without conditions. The wise man understands this. He offers loyalty like a loan, not a gift. It's conditional, strategic, and always reversible. He might speak the language of faithfulness, but behind his smile is calculation. He gives allegiance when it benefits him, and withdraws it when it endangers him. He separates loyalty from morality. He knows survival sometimes means ditching old allies, changing faces, and altering his path. This isn't fear. It's smart adaptation. Asking for loyalty shows you're afraid. The powerful don't plead for allegiance. They demand it through strength, fear, or necessity. Only the weak praise loyalty, hoping sentimentality holds what force can't. And only fools give loyalty blindly, without knowing if the person they serve would fight for them back. Being loyal to someone who wouldn't risk as much for you as you would for them is like wearing a dog's collar thinking it's a crown. Even worse is loyalty to abstract ideas. Because ideals are even less reliable than people. They change with the times. They crumble under pressure and often get used by manipulators to trick the naive. A person who sticks to a cause long after it's lost its core is no different from someone staying in a burning house just because it used to be home. Principles, like loyalty, need constant review and must be dropped if they no longer help you survive. The dead can't claim nobility. They just decay, honored by those smart enough to stay alive. Those who succeed, whether in power, wealth, or freedom, don't do it by being loyal to everyone. They're loyal only when it benefits them. Their commitments are selective. Their promises are temporary. They only trust themselves. They build partnerships, not unbreakable ties. They make agreements, not sacred vows. And when things change, they're the first to pivot. It's not because they lack integrity, but because they understand how storms work. The man who dies with a reputation for loyalty is often remembered, briefly, by the very people who took his place. The survivor who bends the rules isn't called loyal, but he's remembered as being alive. The world, despite its veneer of politeness, doesn't respond to kindness or submission. It responds to displays of power. It yields not to the meek, but to the dangerous. A man who whimpers when hurt, who asks instead of demands, who seeks mercy before commanding fear, is destined to be run over. This isn't cruelty. It's the natural order. Nature, from deep forests to royal courts, bows to power. And power is demonstrated not through appeals, not through tears, but through bared fangs with quiet confidence. A man who wants to be safe must appear intimidating. Not loud, not reckless, but intimidating. There's a difference between noise and a genuine threat. Dogs bark to warn, to scare, to create a false sense of power. But they bark because they're scared. The wolf, however, doesn't need to bark. Its mere presence is enough. Its stillness speaks louder than the pleas of the desperate. That's the art of dominance. Say little, do much, and let your silence convey your determination. When people look you in the eye and see you won't back down, won't beg, won't hesitate, they won't challenge you again. A man who can't inspire fear can't earn respect. He might be liked, he might be pitied, but he won't be trusted with important tasks. Leaders are chosen for their ability to make tough calls without faltering, not for their warmth. A prince who can't punish is just a figurehead. A general who hesitates to retaliate is sending his men to their deaths. A man who can't firmly say no will be exploited until he's empty. The world is full of the remains of agreeable, pleasant, soft men. Men who smiled too much and acted too little. When threatened, they offer themselves as easy prey. Understanding this is key to navigating the world. A man shouldn't cry out when injured. He shouldn't explain when questioned. He shouldn't appeal to fairness. Fairness is a myth created by the powerful to control the powerless. The world doesn't care what you deserve, only what you can seize and keep. If you want to avoid being dominated, you must project the ability to dominate. Don't brag, but never back down. Train your face to show no fear, your voice to carry no desperation, your hands to remain steady even when betrayed. Fangs aren't just weapons, they're symbols. The difference between the powerful and the powerless lies not in their morals, but in their willingness to act without seeking approval. The man with fangs doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He creates them through action. He knows kindness without power is weakness, and diplomacy without the threat of force is just noise. The one who can destroy but chooses not to, that's strength. The one who can't destroy and begs for mercy is a victim. Even in the so-called civilized world, the same rule applies. In politics, the person who can ruin reputations gets heard. In business, the one who can walk away from a deal or wreck the table dictates the terms. In personal matters, the man known to punish betrayal instantly is never betrayed twice. The subtle message of capability, backed by proven ruthlessness, changes how others behave. They choose their words carefully. They tread lightly. They offer things they'd never offer to someone begging. There's no honor in dying for a principle if your enemies celebrate your downfall. A man must learn to be steel beneath velvet, gentle in speech, but deadly. He must appear calm while being capable of unleashing chaos. When you enter a room, it's better they fear crossing you than forget you were there. Whimpers are forgotten. Fangs are remembered. It's ingrained in nature's laws, in human instinct, in the pages of history. Those with power make the rules. The powerless follow them. No one rises to power through universal liking. The desire to be liked is the first chain on the ambitious. It dulls their instincts, softens their actions, and forces them to consider what's acceptable rather than what's necessary, thereby handing their authority to the masses whose approval they crave. The person aiming to rise must quickly learn that success isn't measured by popularity, but by clear vision. And clear vision requires decisions that many will despise and few will respect. Being hated isn't failure. It's a signal. It means you're no longer just background noise in other people's lives, that your actions have impact, that your presence disrupts their comfort. The man in danger isn't the hated one, but the one everyone forgets to fear. Power can't exist without adversaries because power creates distinction. Those at the top must be separate from those below. This separation breeds resentment, and resentment breeds hate. It's not a flaw in how power works, but its price. And only those willing to pay it will ever hold anything more than an illusion. The weak person craves affection, believing it will protect him. He thinks if people like him, they won't hurt him. He believes keeping everyone happy ensures his safety. But safety based on approval is fragile. It lasts only as long as others are content. The moment he has to choose between what's right for him and what's convenient for them, he's on his own. And if he's not ready for that solitude, he'll break. The strong person, however, accepts isolation as a natural part of leadership. He doesn't fear being hated. He decides which hatreds are necessary. It's much better to be feared than loved if you can't be both, and it's rare to maintain both without conflict. Love is conditional, built on illusion and expectation. It demands performance, consistency, self-denial. One mistake and love cools. But fear endures mistakes. It lingers long after affection vanishes. It keeps people in line even when they disagree with you. It stifles betrayal and sharpens obedience. And when fear is combined with respect, it forms the bedrock of unshakable authority. Being willing to be hated frees you from the judgment of the public. It allows you to act on your own terms. It means moving without explanation, punishing without apology, speaking when others stay silent. It means taking what others are too timid to touch. Those who are remembered, the rulers, the founders, the revolutionaries, were all hated in their time. The masses scorned them, their peers spoke against them, and their enemies called them wicked. But history doesn't ask if they were liked. It asks if they succeeded. The man who tries to be liked by everyone becomes harmless. He's so busy softening his words, pleasing everyone, and avoiding offense that he becomes invisible. He dissolves into compromise. He forgets how to say no. He becomes a tool others use to get their way. He's praised until he's no longer useful, then discarded with the same polite smiles that once flattered him. Affection is a performance, and the moment you stop acting, the crowd moves on. You have to decide what's more important, the illusion of peace or the reality of progress. Because true progress, in any area of life, always comes at the expense of someone else's comfort. You'll be called cruel for being efficient. You'll be called arrogant for refusing to explain yourself. You'll be called heartless for ending relationships that no longer serve you. Let them talk. Their words are the sound of your rise. They aren't judges, just spectators, bitter they didn't dare do the same. If some people don't hate you, you're not leading. You're following, or at best, stuck. Hatred is the storm you must weather if you want to rise above the ordinary. It will come from below, from those who covet your position. It will come from your peers, who resent your progress. And it will come from above, from those who fear you might take their place. But the man who stops walking because of the wind never sees the view from the summit. The path to dominance isn't paved with gentleness or decorated with widespread praise. It's carved with sharp intent, forged through hardship, and maintained by the relentless refusal to be controlled. The world rewards not the harmless, but the effective. It uses them, silences them, or forgets them. To rise above the crowd, you must not only reject weakness, you must hunt it within yourself and destroy it. The dog, obedient, eager, vulnerable, must vanish so the wolf can emerge. A creature that doesn't beg, doesn't whimper, doesn't wait for permission. A creature that understands survival isn't given, it's taken. Let others find virtue in yielding. You, if you dare, must become the thing they fear to discuss, not for the sake of cruelty, but for mastery, not to destroy randomly, but to ensure you are never destroyed again.